So, engaging youth in transition. We've been thinking about this topic for quite a long time in the past, in the transition movement, especially because transition as a network, as a movement, is for everybody. So whoever wants can use those tools, can use the resources that are there. So it's not really age specific. However, in the last years, as we are approaching our 20th anniversary, we tend to realize that the beginning of transition was very much marked with a generation that is now approaching middle age and is more probably also having their own children and their own changes in life. So they're not, I mean, they're a different generation than what we understand now that are the needs of the young people of today. And opposite of that, actually, it's the young generation who really need those tools and resources, whatever was developed as part of the transition movement in the early days. And we can see, for example, that that many people that are visiting our website, that are coming to our events, to our socials, that are young people who are coming from all around the world. They're more female than male, and the age of the visitors of our website and our socials is more or less between 25 and 34. And also the next of that would be between 18 and 24. So that made us thinking that we are maybe catering for demographics that we don't really know much about, and that we should work with together to understand what are their needs and what we can do for them. Youth as defined by many bodies. It's mainly between 18 to 30, let's say. The European Union at least defines it between those ages, but also can be between 14 to 24. So it's a wide range and not really, I mean, it's a bit vague. However, it encompasses mostly the years of the generation that we call Gen Z, and the younger millennials. And some of the characteristics that are about this generation would be that they're all digital natives. So they're all born with screens, with computers. They are way more connected than what we have been in our youth years. They're very strongly feeling about diversity and inclusion. They're all feeling the pressure or most of them, they're feeling the pressure of the need to act, like the urgency to act. So they are going into activism, interested in social justice. They have entrepreneurial spirit and global perspective. They're very pragmatic, realistic, and they have a strong preference for being authentic. And this is how they relate to both each other and to the older generations. So there's not anymore that stance or that authority that we have felt in our earlier generations, but we are more kind of on an equal basis, feeling that we are all part of the same story, the same earth, and we should act accordingly together. And for example, we tried playing with a persona about who would be that invisible visitor to our website and socials. And we had exploration that those are usually young people that really love the planet and they want to do something about it. So the choices in their life, they're more defined. And the hobbies they're doing, they're connected to the planet, either gardening, vegan cooking, animal shelters. They're aware of what can bring, let's say, however small their steps they're making are, that can bring something positive to the to make life more sustainable. They have some challenges and pain points, we call them, and that is that they're really facing limited resources and institutional inertia. And also they're not taken seriously by the older generations. And they're very much anxious about the future. And that's also part of their beliefs, how they're seeing themselves, how much power they have. However, they still believe that that every individual can create an impact. And they have some role models of today, which are bringing different messages, strong messages. I mean, we just named here a few, but there are way too, I mean, way more. And they engage mostly on the socials. They follow some podcasts for sustainable living, climate action, environmental justice, and they're very much in that bubble, and potentially that also fuels that anxiety, because they're constantly exposed to the news of the things that are happening today. So also the mental health, there's lots of talk about how to protect their mental health, how to take care of each other, and how they feel unable sometimes to discuss those big issues with the older generations, with their parents or their teachers or whoever is there. And they can be anywhere. Usually young people, they don't have their own space, but they live still with their parents, so that's a bit different from the previous generation. Like they're more interested in as you know, experiences rather than owning stuff, and they're very, very aware of learning, of having the need to learn skills so they can help themselves, like how to sustain their livelihood in the future. And we were thinking to also to see how, because those are some things that came out of our exploration, but also potentially there can be some other ideas, like what do you think as participants in this session, like if transition was a movement of youth instead of of this older generation that holds it now, what would it be, or how it would be shaped? So you can just have a moment to think and to write some things in the chat. Awesome. Esther writes, braver, more coherent, walking the talk, funnier. I love that. Colorful, yes. Excellent. Max says it's non-hierarchical, youth-led, more cross-pollination with other topics and networks. Youth ownership, exactly. Yes. Multidimensional, Tanya says. Exactly. It would be something else, definitely. And now we are at a point, because we are entering our 20th year anniversary, and we also had a year of exploration of our identity, who we are as a transition movement. So now we are at that beautiful opening where we have a chance to redesign or redefine who we are and who are we, who are we working for, like how to engage youth in the transition movement, and to really integrate also their views and their needs. Okay, see. Oh, this went too fast. So yes. So how do you define their world? As I said, there's a lots of difference and also some similarities with all different young generations of the past, where, for example, the values are more or less the same. I think throughout the years that young people really need to feel seen, to feel that empowerment, collaboration, activism, resilience, creativity, justice, sustainability, inspiration, hope, empathy, education, transformation. So all those are kind of like a very embedded values, and it looks like we are really, they're part of our intrinsic motivation of what we are doing. And then as we grow older, we change into something else, or we lose that strong hold of what is important in life, or we change things. So what are some of the definitions, what youth is interested in, and what they want to connect to? They're very active on social media. We said they're interested in youth-led innovation, intersectional advocacy, climate justice, sustainable tech. It's very important and relevant nowadays. Then talking about collaborative solutions, so it's not anymore actually important to talk, but also to come up with something and work towards really creating and walking the talk, what you said, Esther, earlier. Empowered voice is very important, and that is now becoming possible because of this culture of influencers and like leaders on social media. Like visibility is way bigger, way stronger. Then eco-conscious visionaries, and talking about grassroots activism 3.0, environmental stewards. So that there are many different ways how young people take action, either by themselves in their local groups or connecting online more and more on an international level. And this is and this is very interesting because there's so many different organizations now that are going in the same direction, and this is a completely different milieu, like from 20 years ago, when there were not so many organizations or movements like this one. So the important questions here is what is in there, what we can offer to the young people, why would they do transition, what is in there for them. And what we were thinking is actually that what is already developed as a model that is available for everyone, that we could make it a bit more tangible, more interesting for the young people. So to write it in their with their language or in their ways of communication. So to find the young people where they are, and to co-create some strategies and actions which are also important for them. So so we have here a few things that have came out of this exploration. However, this is all from our side. This older generation that is kind of like an ally to the young people. What is more interesting, and I will share it in its entirety because it's very, very important, and I find it amazing, is one exploration of a group of young people that were present at the Transition Assembly in the UK. And they came with a set of suggestions about how movements like transition can engage young people, or how the groups which are thinking about this topic can really work in actionable steps. And there's some ways that I can go one by one through the list. First is that we, as an older generation, we have to be clear about how young people can get involved. Because there might be some mixed messages, generic calls, or it's not always clear how that we are inviting them to be present in the actions or in the projects that we are doing. So there are some actionable steps that they are suggesting. For example, to be a bit specific, to say that we need volunteers for this project, and here's how you can help. To be very tangible, to be when we are doing the invitation, to use the clear signposting, creating posters or social media posts that specify expectations, next steps, Also to share success stories, because young people also want to see how others have done something and how it made difference. Then another way would be to integrate activism into daily life, because sometimes for young people it's very difficult to participate in some actions because they have financial or time constraints. And also there are some actionable steps that that it's possible, for example, to partner with the places where they are, like schools, universities, or workplaces. So their engagement in the movement can be as part of their educational or professional development. Also, it can be in a time when they're free, not in school or at work. So in the evenings or for short-term projects in the weekend. And also to provide online participation for the ones who can't attend in person. And that's very approach that we already have as an international movement. And also, yeah, we also important also for that multi-cultural exchange. So from many different countries to be stronger in numbers. Okay, another suggestion is to have paid opportunities for young people, because there are some financial barriers that prevent youth from getting involved. So this might be either through stipends or paid expenses for the volunteers, to have some part-time paid roles for the young people, to have some employment opportunities through the virtual platform, to recognize some contribution with non-monetary rewards, like free training or mentorship certificates, or to connect them, for example, with companies or organizations that can recognize their experience as something that can be a part of their CV. Another suggestion would be to acknowledge the interconnectedness of issues. And this is actually, I think this is valid for everyone. Like it's more, it's easier and somehow more purpose-driven action when we see that things are connected. So here what we can do is to frame the environmental activism as part of the broader picture, for example, connected to housing, racial justice, financial security, mental health. We can also partner with diverse organizations to highlight those connections. And very important, who is part of the roundtable also matters. So to also involve young people in those discussions and to see what matters most to them. Next suggestion would be to engage young people through conversations, not assumptions. And that's why I wanted to immediately to dive into those suggestions, because it is, it is very defined category, and they have different priorities, interests, and motivations, and it's important to ask you directly what they care about instead of just assume, and to have some surveys or focus groups, listening sessions to understand their needs. Also to involve young people in decision-making rather than just to consult them. Next suggestion would be to create open and accessible spaces. And this is a beautiful, I love this suggestion, because it is about young people. They don't need to be convinced to care. They care already, like I mentioned, those this intrinsic motivation for as being part of this Earth ecosystem. But what they lack is a space to engage. So what we can do is to offer free or low-cost meeting spaces for young people to organize, to engage, to come together, to provide different materials or mentorship resources. However, to step back and to let them lead and design the space or the action they want and they need. And also to remove any unnecessary bureaucracy, because that's very discouraging for participation. A very beautiful suggestion and very important suggestion is to increase land access and outdoor engagement. The issue that many young people lack access to natural spaces, and so they don't have that connection they crave for environmental engagement. And so this can be also potentially an action there to create partnership with different community gardens, farms, or even landowners to provide free or affordable access to land, to organize different outdoor activities, permaculture trainings, or even camping, nature walks, so anything that can bring young people closer to nature, but also to provide this space for them to engage and to come together with each other, and also to lobby for policies which makes land more accessible for young people. And that can be, for example, in the UK, they have the Land Workers Alliance or Right to Roam groups. And in other countries where the land might be more accessible, can be, for example, partnering with the local municipalities to make walking paths or different spaces for picnics, or to be, or for retreats, or something that can be a bit more accessible for young people to go to. The next suggestion is about establishing a strong online presence and visibility. And this is very much, yes, the sign of this now current generation of youth. So it says if young people can't find the organization online, they probably won't engage. So make sure that there's an active website, social media pages, that it's very clear about what we're doing and how they can get involved, and to share updates, success stories, and invitations regularly, and make sure young people can contact whoever they need to contact easily through direct messages, emails, or forms. And here I would add also the accessibility that, for example, the website that we have just built now in Transition Network has this added elements of accessibility, and also supporting language justice to be easily translatable in different languages. Then the next suggestion would be to balance support from all the generations without restricting youth leadership. And this is a very clear message to, let's say, to my generation, that all the activists that have valuable experience to offer, but they must avoid stiffing young people's approaches. And it's amazing. That's a very beautiful, clear message that, okay, we acknowledge your experience, but let us figure it out ourselves. Like, we are very grateful for all the resources that you're offering and knowledge, but let's see what we can do. So to provide mentorship without controlling the direction of the initiatives, to encourage intergenerational collaboration rather than separation, to be open to new ideas and ways of organizing, and to learn to be in reciprocity between the generations. And the 10th is the fun, which Esther mentioned. Make activism fun, social, and community-based. And this is really important, because many young people are going into activism through friendships and social connections, and it's a very good element for bonding and for creating this cohesion and solidarity among young people. So the steps here that are suggested are to organize community building events that are not only about work. They can be social gatherings, music, food, creative activities, and to make activism welcoming and enjoyable rather than serious or draining, and to encourage group projects where young people can work together with friends, and to invite people who are on the margins of transition to join activities, and to invite their friends. So, for example, potluck parties where you bring 1+1, like a friend, bring a friend +1, or exchanges for clothes or anything, or parties or festivals. They're quite popular, but also very important, and they're also a very good space also for this intergenerational mingling and learning from each other. And as a closure, they have they're saying that young people are not just the future, but we are here now. And that is something that we always mention, that we always think, okay, you're the future, and I mean, it's a common narrative, however very untrue, because that's like putting the burden of what needs to happen or what has been messed up from the older generation on somebody's shoulder, when actually we are all there, and we are all activists, and we are all sharing the same values and ideas. It's our present, whatever year we were born, and as we talked, and this has been since the 70s. We see this like let's say the starting of the decline of the multi crisis, and so it is something that it's happening now, and we are on the same, in the same boat, let's say, or in the same front, or working together to create those solutions that will benefit everyone. So there's a nice question they're closing with, this young group at the Transition Assembly. They're saying, instead of asking what can young people bring to the table, you can ask yourself, why do you want us there? And this is a very good question. I really love the question. And how can young people roll up their sleeves and get involved in the work of transition? So why it's maybe time now to involve also you to see some ideas and thoughts or discussion. We can open it as a small discussion, like why would we want the young people here, and how they can get involved in the work of transition. So it can be a popcorn.
One thing that's alive for me is that youth, young people, are part of society, are also part of the planet as everybody else. And it's a sector of the population, it's a range of the population that matters, and that can have very creative and bright ideas because of their ages. And that's one of the reasons that they need to be there, that we need to come together to do all the work we have to do, because we have not a lot of time. That's one thing.
I think an easy way to get involved is taking part in the community activities that are already there, local activities, so connecting young people with that and sparking their interests, doing any kind of social media, so showing like what they did in whatever format they desire. And then there's, of course, opportunities to get involved deeper, like taking place in long form projects. So not necessarily one-off things. So it depends where they are and which sector they feel passionate about. I think transition does a really good job covering a really wide diversity of activities. And that's one of our really strong offerings.
I think I'd like to mention that it's amazing seeing all of the suggestions from the Youth Caucus at the Assembly incorporated. I was there and I was involved in setting up the Youth Caucus to attend and have a presence, and being able to witness that dynamic in the room, I think, was really, really instructive. And just the sheer appetite for everybody who's been involved with transition, some of them from the start, with the younger generation, I think that in itself was just such a vindication of what kind of potential this holds. And also I've been lobbying for the presence of young people in a meaningful way with this kind of work. And I think and obviously, as always happens when you're working with young people, as soon as they get involved, it just goes far beyond anything that you might have been able to anticipate. And I think that prompts that you shared of what would the transition network be if it was a youth movement is such an interesting question to consider. There's wealth of experience amongst the older generation that are already involved in the transition network. And it's such an incredible resource to be able to share with people, especially younger people who are still getting involved and finding their place and their confidence in activism and in these kind of networks. And in a way, there's kind of just the task or the prospect of connecting those two groups can unleash so much more than we would be able to anticipate. So that's really exciting, and as people have already mentioned, it's really necessary. So I just think this is fantastic to see that this is being processed and represented so authentically. It's just really it's so encouraging.
Oh, great to hear. Great to hear. Yes. Yes. Wow. Indeed, it's a win-win situation. I feel that this movement where we feel that okay, that it's like we can lift each other up, like standing on each other's shoulders. Like it's really not about even the different ages, but it's about that we are all going in the same direction, and we can support with whatever we have, like whatever we have built or whatever strength we have. Like this, it's very. That's actually the sign of a healthy community, that we are like really honoring and using more and supporting each other and living in this solidarity. And the youth bring the fresh perspective, the strength, and that power to go further, and the older bring the, let's say, experience, knowledge. So it's a way how everybody can chip in this on this journey. So yes, so it is from what we have, like from all the things, different things that we are having now as tools, as ideas, as resources in the movement. There's some ways where we can make this happen, to open the ways for the young people to engage further and more on an international level. Because in some countries it has already started a bit more, like in the UK, for example, or in there's some things going on in Portugal, in Sweden. However, to make it really like a strong movement, like a supported part of the movement, this youth wing, let's say, we need to open really the or to become stronger in what we are offering. A lot is connected to learning, this interactive, experiential learning, peer-to-peer learning, also from young people to young people. And also what is there already as a very strong asset to the movement, to the transition movement, is the information guidances on practical skills building, storytelling, real world examples. So over 20 years, there's so many examples there that can be really inspirational. And also to offer empowerment and ownership. Very, very important. What Max wrote at the beginning, this feeling of ownership. It's if somebody doesn't feel that is part of it, that ownership, I don't think it's achievable to take it further or to develop it further. And so there are ways in which we can kind of understand also the needs. And this is exactly what we are trying to do this week. There's a big give campaign where we want to raise some money for engaging a young researcher, to map the young people that are in the communities, transition communities in the world. And this is very important, because even we know more or less approximately how many communities are there in the world, or approximately what they're doing, and it's all self-reported. It's all kind of what people want to share, they share, and it's all okay. But it's very important to know, okay, if there are young people who require, who need some kind of support or assistance on a global level, or in their bioregions, in their hubs, like what is it? It's good to know, so we can really define the offerings without really making those assumptions. So this is a way how we can build some tangible data to understand really who are the young people that are part of transition, or who are interested in transition, or who want to do something with transition, and to act accordingly. So there's a short video that maybe you have seen. I'll just maybe play it just for the sake of reminding ourselves of this campaign.
Where is youth in the transition movement?
Young people are part of transition groups, but that's not visible. Their unique perspectives are important and need to be considered. With your support, we will start a project to map youth and transition groups, connect with them to better understand their needs, and then co-create offerings to support them. As part of that, we will offer a paid research internship for a young person to develop this project with our support.
I feel this is a place where my ideas matter and my ideas are valued. I think no matter who you are, no matter where you are from, this is a place where you can be part of the changes that you want to see in the future, and you can be part of something that feels so much bigger than yourself.
Because at a time when the natural habitat of young people is the total absence of utopias, when we are surrounded all the time by dystopian visions, the transition movement is constantly showing you that the future is yet to be written, and that we just have to dare to dream and collectively build the future we want.
I think my connection is maybe not the best, or the video is stopping. Anyway, I can show what this is all about. So yes, as I mentioned, for a week, this week, since yesterday until 29th of April, we're having this match funding opportunity where we want to raise some funds and double the contribution. And the topic is engaging youth for a regenerative future. And this is basically to support a baseline study of youth in transition worldwide, to map where they are, what their needs are, and to see the challenges, and also to identify opportunities for connection, collaboration, and for mutual support. And also to co-create and to hold spaces for youth engagement. So everything what we shared today, like also with those suggestions that we had from the youth group, from the Transition Assembly, to understand better what and how we can offer support. And also the aim is also to engage a young researcher to lead this project, and that is a paid position, so also honoring their time and skills. So they can also build their skills to create a bit of also understanding, or to lead on this research and analysis about where youth are across transition groups. So yes, so this is ongoing, and I hope it will be interesting for people to participate and to share it further, to support this action, because it is the first step, and we want to make it good. We really want to make it properly researched and well based. So in a way to put the seeds in the ground, so we can then make a nice harvest. So I will stop now sharing. I will stop sharing. Yeah, I can see you. So thank you so much. This has been the presentation. However, we also have, I think, a little bit time for discussion, or to understand, okay, how and what we can do to also offer some practical suggestions from this group to the team that will work on this project in the future, or ideas how, for example, where to look for researcher or how to open the process. Of course, we want it to be transparent and inclusive. So to have a bit of understanding what might be some of the challenges that we might encounter, or what to look for, or what to, some tips also from people who maybe have been through the process before. Thank you. Yeah, I think I can start first. I think one challenge that we might encounter is that is about the different priorities in which youth are in different countries. For example, I know from the past, my past work with young people in the UK that many of them immediately after high school, they go into employment, and then they have very little time to engage with projects or with even any offerings that are there for traveling, for going, learning about other things, or having courses. Where in other countries there might be a different issue about maybe not having the resources for going into training, or just needing first to close the formal education process, or also what I said, like some other challenges would be that they can't really discuss with many people, like on a worldwide scale I'm talking, because it's sometimes our lens from now we are all in Europe, I presume. I don't know about Oslo but I can see the others from here. But we have lots of transitioners also in South America, in Ablayala, in also in Asia. There are a few groups. I mean, there are lots in Japan. There are now some people also starting to get interested in transition from different countries in Africa. So we have to be a bit mindful of the different the variety of different needs which are there. Even what counts as a young people, what counts as youth, so there can be also different definitions about this category. So I think we should be also very mindful and careful how we approach it, and also what kind of questions we are asking also, what also to be aware that some words can mean different things in different languages, and to be also mindful of that. What are some other thoughts? What do you think? What to expect from this process that we're starting now?
I think one very practical thing is just asking whether there's any idea of what kind of processes or tools are going to be used in the process of consulting with young people, because that will be part of how people are empowered to take part, so that they're aware of the process and what that involves, so that they can take part on an equal level, and it doesn't end up introducing a kind of bottleneck with knowledge and skills. To avoid the potential, which can often come up in youth work, that there's some level where the responses shared by young people are then interpreted by the person doing the reporting, which again comes back to that ownership element, because even with the best intentions, if it relies on a single point of contact that has the task of gathering and interpreting what's shared, it can end up introducing certain biases, intentional or otherwise. So maintaining a process that tries as best as possible to avoid that happening, and making the process transparent and open so that people can take part on a genuinely equal basis, I think is a really important thing to have established from the start.
Yeah, this is actually very valuable, and immediately, yeah, possibility I can see that here that is that after the researcher works with the data and those questions would be maybe looked into and checked against the focus group of young people, like if they're good to circulate, that maybe we have a group of analysts, like people who can look into the responses from different countries, different parts of the world, and also add their own like those cultural nuances, like to see what's what are the different meanings of some terms or ideas or sharings from different contexts. So instead of one person analyzing or us analyzing only as older allies, that we can maybe have also a group, like in the second stage, like a group of people who would be also helping with the analysis and then making it actionable. Because that's also very important, that we don't stay with the research only, but that we get also some fruit out of it.
I think one challenge would be to define scope. So it could be very wide and some things could get lost, especially in the beginning. Trying to accommodate like such a big diversity within transition movement, all the geographies that were just mentioned. And so perhaps breaking it up into categories and then seeing how that translates into questions. And just being very lean throughout the process and being cautious of the ask being too much. So for example, like a long form, right? So trying to find a balance between a research process that would be fruitful, but would not be too burdensome for the participants.
Really interesting and helpful, everything that's been shared, and many things bubbling up also in my mind. One thing that feels clear to me is that we need to apply all that Lisa just shared, all these recommendations and things we need to take into consideration need to be more than a presentation. It needs to be a practice, an embodied practice. So we need to really take this into real consideration. And from what's been shared as well, I think rather than us trying to create the whole process and then sharing with this person, okay, there you go, here's your paid position, go and do the work. Maybe making sure that we can co-create. Maybe we can create a list of things that we have clarity and the aims that we want to achieve, this kind of thing, but keep it open enough for this young person to feel also empowered and feel this project as theirs as well in this, this co-creation energy. Because as Max said, anything can happen. Like we can have an idea and then someone with a lot of imagination and ideas can say, oh, but what if we do it this way or this other way? And then we're like, oh, okay, we just created a whole project, but you're sharing something that's more inspiring or that's more useful. So feeling curious about how we can create and design this process with this openness, not filling it with a lot of bureaucracy as well. I think everything that's been shared in the presentation and with the group feels like very good advice. And it just I hope we make it. I hope we manage to find the money for the project so we can start really including youth in a different way, in different ways, really honoring them as they are. So yeah, fingers crossed, and we need to spread around this call. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were speaking, Esther, it came to mind that for the others that don't know, we have just started with Han Yun, who you saw in the video, a volunteer from China who's studying in Bristol University. We started Instagram page that was about people of transition. So potentially we can also make something like young people of transition, or something that is more relevant to the young people, and hear the stories and connect to really to the youth. And because it is really a matter of finding like a tool that is both interesting, engaging, but also tells the serious story, like the really why are they here, why they want to engage, what are they doing, what they need, or yeah. So yeah, we don't have to bring boring surveys or things like that. It's just the information, how it flows. It's up to us to design, and we can just see what speaks to them, to young people. And also to bear in mind that sometimes the avenue how to reach youth is through the for example, maybe their parents are in transition, so they know they have been exposed to the messages or the environment. Maybe they've been to so many parties and everything like that, so they feel this closeness of transition already, those young people, but they identify differently because the groups and movements that they speak their language more. So it's a matter of also passing the message of care and ally that there are some older allies, intergenerational kind of offering through the community groups that are already established. So two ways I see: through the groups, like through the local community, and also through online channels, so peer-to-peer, so understanding, okay, so what's happening online, the same channels that they're using. Yeah. Oh, hi.
Hello. I don't have much to say. It's lovely to see all these initiatives, and I have to look into detail and perhaps share it more in my community and some people I know. So I don't have as much information. I'm not necessarily an active transition participant, but years ago I learned about it. It was beautiful, and yes, so life took a interesting turn. What I wanted to say is I'm in UK and currently, and where I live, there's a lovely initiative. It's called Growing Local org UK, and I participated to some activities they make for children. So I don't know, they arranged to have some big farmland from the farmer, and it's funded, I think, by the council, or maybe there was some initiative that they get the funding from. It's so beautiful. So they grow vegetables, organic. They're gonna get the certification for it, and the local people living in neighborhood, they go volunteer, or they can work if there's a position. And when you volunteer, you might get the vegetable scheme, which is normally people decide to buy weekly vegetables from them. But if you're volunteering, you can also use the scheme if you can't afford, but you can volunteer, and by that way, maybe not all volunteering, I don't think, provides that, but you might then get weekly vegetable with that volunteering rather than paying if you can't. And my children really loved seeing the garden, and I loved it. And I just really want to take part in that project. And I love doing things with children. And I know my child would love would love having his own vegetable patch, for example, or this group, they do accept schools visiting or paying for their students, pupils to take part in a day, I think. But I kind of, it's still in a work in progress, having an idea where, why can't children have some sort of area where it's something that they can manage, obviously not so big, that is just theirs, whether it is to do with flowers or trees or some easy vegetables. I know my son would love that. And so just to be maybe contribute to your inquiries, recently I received an email from my children's school. It was from Herefordshire Wildlife Trust. And they were asking parents, or the school wanted to share that online, what is the word, pool with the parents, and asked us if we want to participate. And I shared their my views about, and they were asking, they have some funding, but they are asking how they want us to be used. And they gave options like, there's a woodland here. Do you want more activities for children and families in that woodland? Or do you want something in your local neighborhood, local area? Or do you want this? So there were options. And I immediately choose local, because I went to, for example, the woodland. It was lovely, but it's not so easy it's not nearby. And then people consider it like visiting on a free day and coming back. Whereas this one here, right where we live, the growing local, if they can fund something with them, I would love every day just my children. So I think in everywhere where people live, if there's something in their community nearby, so that there's a bit more consistency and regularity for children to engage. And I just wrote it down. And also there was another time the council sent a poll shared online, if you want to take part in regarding how they want the funding to be used and what sort of projects. And then I shared my views around these local community projects. Please fund those. And they're so, I think it could be used for young people too, when you send a poll or a questionnaire, whatever, online, or promote it so that they see it outside too, not just online. I think there you might hear lots of interesting ideas, or it can kind of encourage young people to think about it. Maybe they might not think in the first poll or a questionnaire, but it might ignite their thinking. And then they might later come up with ideas. So that could be something, because I really felt ignited by these questionnaires that we were asked if we want to participate. And then it gave me lots of ideas. So it could be, I'm not so young. You're looking for, my children are 8. My oldest is 8 years old, so they're really young, but probably you're looking for older young people. I think questionnaires are a good way, because they might otherwise find it too, oh no, I'm not sure, it's like fundraising a bit, or sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's a burden. I'm not sure if I'm that actively want to engage. Whereas I think if you ask their opinion by giving some options, I think they will be more open to then share it, because there's no burden on them. Like initially, they don't feel like they're committing to something. They might feel they're not sure if they can commit that much, whether it's time-wise, whether it's the activity-wise. So, but then if you like that, ask their opinion, they might be more open to share, and then they might later come up with ideas themselves and voluntarily share it without the poll with the organizations who then they, through these questionnaires, heard that exist. So I think these are the things I just wanted to share, and thank you very much for
No,
for
thank
the
you.
work you're
Very,
doing.
very valuable and really beautiful. And thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And the children, they go so fast. So very soon they'll be part of what
Yes.
what we are setting up the project for.
Yes. And also you said why and how we can. Even the nature visits and picnics I did with my family when I was young, I'm originally Turkish, they stayed with me. I kind of craved it as an adult, because I did that with my parents. So I think if we do these things, if they have their own garden or vegetable garden or whatever nature activity, if it's a little bit consistent and regular, that they will keep it into the future when they get older, and they will pass it on to their children. So I think that's why it's important to engage them and not just make decisions on our own, but
Absolutely.
in the way and the amount and child appropriate or younghood appropriate, in which ways they can support, then will probably, yes, of course, have a huge and helpful impact for the earth and our future.
Absolutely, yes, really beautiful, sharing. And I think all those things that we have shared now, we can compile them and also offer them to the young researcher who will be designing the project. And if they need any other help, we can reach out also to the wider community to see how we can have this process ready, because it is, as you said, like, it's really important to engage them, like, so they start coming up with questions or ideas, or like in a focus group it's much easier to talk through, like with group of young people. It's always, everything is way more interesting and fun and collaborative, this collaborative learning or exchanges, because on even for myself, like if I do something on my own, like if I fill a survey, then it's a bit more individual process, where transition is more like collaborative space. Like, it's okay, we do this together for the local community, for the neighbors, local transition streets, or the youth. Like, it's very much collective space somehow, and so why not make it as a collective thinking process? So this like a designing, like in the same way, for example, yes, you would do like a permaculture design. This is like a transition design for making your life a bit easier in the future, because you're designing with the future in mind, that you're making this whole process a bit more easier to tackle, because you have shared resources, you have shared knowledge, you have the support of many other young people with you. So it is a bit easier to go through it, because it is true that this anxiety of young people being always in the bubble of with their parents, especially during COVID years, for example, there's this less socialization in real life, like it's more online. So nature it's amazing opportunity, like in any in any way, like either through learning spaces, permaculture courses or whatever, or just picnics or walks. It can be a beautiful healing space, but also many other things on a meta level can happen there. And so I fully support, and I would be really keen on on that being maybe a byproduct or result of this of this project, that we encourage young people to do something about it, or they find inspiration in what they're sharing, that this is part of how they want to see their life from now on, more in nature together, and doing something worthwhile there. Yes. So if somebody wants to share anything else, it's welcome. You're welcome. But also, I'm aware that we are slowly coming to a closure of this common exploration on how to engage young people in transition. And I think it's very valuable that we have open eyes and hearts and hands to welcome them in the whatever they need. And yes, I'm very much looking forward to now that we are starting this process, to be there as a mentor, as an ally, to support any a young person or any group of young people who will be going through this process of mapping and understanding who are the young people in transition a bit more. So the next presentation, when we don't go with hypothetical person anymore, we don't go with persona, but we go with really real people and examples, and a bit more vibrant understanding and presence. of who the young people are in transition. And we can open maybe the mics just to share like a checkout, few sentences, how you're living from this session. So anybody can start and can pass it on.
I'm feeling grateful and inspired. And yeah, anybody watching the recording later, please spread the voice and support the campaign, hoping we can make it. And we have soon young people working and collaborating and being part of this. Yeah, thank you.
So I found the presentation to be very informative, very good level of detail. Thank you, Lisa, for putting it together. Yeah, and it went really well together with the campaign, and it's good to be able to see that project, and I hope it comes to life.
I think I'll repeat what I said earlier, that it's just so encouraging to see the products of some of the stuff that we've been doing in the UK and around the Assembly already incorporated into the wider strategy. And that fact in itself, I think, is something really powerful to share with any prospective young people getting involved. That it is an international network. There are people that are there ready and incredibly willing to support them on a genuine, authentic basis. So I think this is an incredible starting point, and it's really exciting to think about what could come from this process.
Yes, I also feel inspired from this meeting. I have to click on the link and get more information. And I will definitely share it with some people I think who might be interested and with the wider community. So, so that there's a larger community and that it can help it grow and go to a place where would be lovely for the planet and for the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's been really enjoyable. And yeah, it's a subject that I'm really passionate about. And although today was maybe a bit, day that felt a bit flat, but it's still very strong in my heart. And like whenever I'm speaking about this, I feel like knowing that there's so many other people who feel the same and on the same path, and especially that Max, you were here and you were also there at that assembly, that you bring that energy from there. And so it's like many different ways in which I feel that we are in this together, like whatever our age and background and origin, or so we are really on the same path and the same journey, share the same journey. So I'm very grateful, and I'm looking forward to see how this develops. And I will see you all at some other point, some other event. So bye everyone.
Thank you.